welcome back.
I have hot dogs and mac and cheese.
That sounds tasty.
It's like my go-to meal.
Well, we have launched it.
Yes, I just caught that.
Yep. No, what I was saying, because you probably had me muted or didn't have your headphones on, your rocket design skills are awesome. You designed an awesome rocket. It's just getting it back is the issue. However, you put a skipper engine on it. I might actually be able to land that on the surface of the planet, of actual Kerbal. Like SpaceX style.
I put a skipper on it? I thought I put a mainsail on it.
Is it a mainsail? Oh my god.
It might be a mainsail.
Yeah, if it's a mainsail, I definitely can land it on the surface of the planet then. That ought to be interesting. I think I might test that. I'll leave behind one curb and I'll leave Jabber Valentina in the other part and try landing it. But this craft we're taking...
pick rocket engines based upon the maximum amount of thrust I can get.
Yeah. Spinning around because we aren't pressing anything on the keyboard. Yeah, see how just strutting those into place completely killed the wobbling around thing? Nice and sturdy. Even though I added a little bit of weight on it, looks like we're still going to be up above 8,000 with the solid fuels quit. Yep, I'll go ahead and launch the other part. Tip over a little bit. Oh, and okay, so I started to lose it. So what I do is I just cut the engines and fly over till I see the blue part, and then as soon as I hit the blue part, I hit the engines again, while still holding on to D to flip it over. And I let go, and that's basically my little safety flip. Because of the pressure of the atmosphere, if you start turning too quickly, it's going to keep turning. And if you don't know what to do in that sense, or if you don't know what to do when that happens, you're in for a bad time. It's going to end up
causing straight into the ground.
Yeah, pretty much. This is going to be great, though. Hell of a rocket. Hell of a rocket. Now, I usually wouldn't launch one right after the other, just because of what we're going to have to do to actually get them to match up. But we have plenty of fuel, so I can kind of mess around a little. This will be a good way to kind of team. And we'll just kill that. I was looking for, in the map mode, basically the point where our orbit touches orbit of the craft we want to dock with. Because one point has to be touching that orbit, otherwise we'll never be close to each other. In this map mode, even millimeters can be miles away. I might just, well, I guess I should probably, I'm going to turn down the blues a little bit, because if I get the chance to, I might just upload this whole thing to YouTube, if you want to use it as kind of reference tutorial. This could be kind of a good way to reteach yourself in case you ever need it.
I might have your Twitch stream turned on, but your blues really isn't that loud.
It's not, but YouTube is, like, this is all open, it should be open source, like copyright-free blues music, but YouTube doesn't care. I'll just turn it down a little bit. And once again, kind of turning the rocket so it's pointing towards the... Trying to turn it, pointing towards the part. We'll actually use monopropellant in this case, just to angle ourselves. Okay, we're gonna wait till we lower. Second. Gotta get this thing into orbit before we can dock it with anything. Now there's the problem that I just put one set of RCS thrusters on this thing, but I'll be basically controlling an entire rocket with it. But, you know, it's possible. We'll do it.
I have faith.
Yep. Okay. Okay, alright, so we're in about the same orbit as the other craft, right? Not really, because we're actually a little bit higher than it. So the first thing you want to do is click on the craft you want to dock with, set it as a target. You already know that. Now a couple of things pop up that we need to know about. These little green tabs, ascending node and descending. Now, they are showing us the difference in degrees of our orbit compared to the orbit of where we want to actually dock with. And how it works is at these nodes, with the other pink markers, the triangles, the pink triangles, you can change your ascent or descent of your trajectory. You want to do opposite. So at the descending node, you want to ascend, meaning an open triangle, without the little crosshair in it, and at the ascending node you want to descend, which is the closed triangle. Now we've already passed by our descending node, so we'll have to go to our ascending node. There, do that right? Yeah, no, descending node and ascend. So we'll go ahead and use some RCS to tip ourselves up, because this rocket doesn't turn itself too well in space, because this rocket was never supposed to make it into space in one piece. So this, with the little crosshairs on it, that's the closed triangle. We want the open one. Gonna continue to circle around, find that open pink triangle. Or ascending them.
Down some old day, maybe your troubles be like mine.
Okay, there's that open pink triangle. And here's a little trick if you can't get your craft to stay nice and steady. Time warp a little bit when you're at near the point where you want to hold steady, because your craft won't...
I figured that out today.
Yeah.
If you time warp, it just auto sets.
Yep. Yeah, it just sets it right there and it doesn't move anymore. Basically returns it to 0. So we can warp right to that descending node. I guarantee you this will be just a quick little thrust to get it back in the line, because it's only 0.8. As you can see, we're racing by, and the craft that we want to dock with is still ahead of us. 2, 1. Okay, so we'll keep it. Okay, there we go. Nice and zeroed out. 0.0. Close enough. Now, some other things have popped up, right? Have you figured these out? The little dashed lines and the yellow and pink triangles? Or I guess they're like, I can't remember what those echelons maybe. But with the
I have
dash
not
lines?
figured out what those are
Okay.
for.
These are basically your first. Just think of them. They're the same thing. The orange one is going to be your first, and the purple one's going to be your second, and they're the target's position. So what it says, and I'll actually show you here, is when I reach this one, which is closed without the dash lines, the craft that I'm looking to dock with will be at the one with dashed lines. So as I swing around here and we reach the orange set of triangles that doesn't have the dash lines, this craft will actually be at the one with dash lines. So that goes to show you where your target's going to be. The whole point of this is you want to put those two parts of the triangle together, same color to the same place. Well, how do we do that?
You either increase speed or decrease speed to match target.
Exactly. So here's the part where you have to learn about how crafts work when they're in orbit. If we wanted to catch up this thing, which we really, really want to do, we'd have to be in a lower orbit than it. There's a problem with that. If we go any lower in our orbit, we're going to end up...
You'll hit the atmosphere.
Exactly, and we'll crash. So we're going to have to slow down and let it catch up to us. So what we'll do...
You raise his orbit.
No, we'll just pretend like we can't control that craft whatsoever. It's inoperable. We have to catch up to it, fix it somehow. We can't touch it. It's set in place. So without doing that, what we'll have to do is go up to a higher orbit and then let it catch up to us. Now, if you have fuel to spare, this is a way to do it. This is a waste of fuel, but it's definitely a better way to do it. Because when you can't get into a lower orbit to catch up, then, you just have to go to a higher orbit and let it catch up to you. Problem being, if I just do a little bit here, the blue line's my orbit, the green line's its orbit, it's gonna take fucking forever for it to catch up to us. Because as you can see, it only moved that dash line a little bit closer to our open line, or our open triangle. So what I have to do is go into a really, really far orbit. And that's where you see the purple one. The purple one moved quite a bit. So once we pass through the orange one, the purple one now becomes our orange, and now we have a new purple one. So we'll go around again, and you'll notice that this is going to pull way far ahead of us, because it has less of a space to travel around the planet, so it's technically faster than us, relative to the planet. Right, we'll zip around there. So we already made it through 3/4 of our orbit. It's already going on its second orbit. So we definitely can turn it down a little, right? Well, now it's behind us. We don't want to catch up to it anymore. We're ahead of it. So we went a little too far. Which happens. No, we didn't go far enough because it's not ahead of us anymore. It's still behind us. Cross that orange triangle right there. Let it switch over. Okay. Now, we're going to turn around and make our orbit come back in a little bit. All we want to do is match up this dash line, this part. Either part. The orange or the purple. Whatever one you can get. You want them to have as close of orbits as possible. We'll get to that once we actually line them up. Show you why. Okay, so you can see now that we got a much smaller orbit, this is moving really quickly. Go ahead and point up a little bit. Now, I wasn't burning slightly like right at the green circle. That's okay. Boom, check this out. Now look at this. If you go over your part of it, the part without the dashed lines, it'll actually tell you the separation. You want that separation to go as low as possible. Once you're below, I think, 2.5 kilometers, you're going to actually be close enough that the crafts will like appear on each other's screen. So now I'm just using the RCS fuel and just tapping H or holding H to slowly bring H is to go forward on RCS. I haven't used monoprop before. It's like HNJKLI. H is forward, N is backwards, IJKL is like ASW. If you look, we've gotten that separation down to half a kilometer. That's pretty close. But we got kind of a wider orbit of that. So what we'll do, I'm going to set this to right about here, and we'll warp to it. So we're just going to warp ahead, but by the time we reach those orange triangles again, we're going to be half a kilometer apart. So we're going to be close to rendezvous. So as you watch, once it reaches a certain point, we'll actually wait for it to show up. The craft below us is catching up, catching up, catching up. And now, look, it should be somewhere here. Ah, there it is. Okay, so check this out. So now that we're actually close enough, and I guess the glare of the planet's kind of blocking it a little bit. We'll wait till it's over the blue a little bit more. You can actually see the position of it. It doesn't load up on screen, but the position is down there. It's 19.8 kilometers and falling. We're getting closer to it. And if you notice, our nav ball is switched over to target mode. So target mode works just like every other mode. Your open circle is pointing towards where you're heading. Your closed circle is away from where you're heading. But the pink crosshairs and the pink circle that appear, which are also on the nav ball, when you have a target mode, they're going to be the important parts. And why they're important is because we want them to match up with our green circle and our green crosshair. Because if they match up, we're heading right for the craft. So because of the maneuver I did, we're heading straight for it, but you can see it's just a little bit off. What we want to do is push it into, well, you pull it. You pull the open circle, you push the closed circle. The pink part won't move, but the green part can. So we'll just kind of go down from it a little bit and use our RCS fuel, a little bit of our actual fuel. Go ahead and pull that as close as we can into the pink circle. Slowly moving. We'll go ahead and turn it up a little bit more just to show you it's actually moving there. And then if we go back and look, our separation, oh, it's actually gone even more. But that's okay. All right. But we're still going to be close enough. So we wanted to be even closer before we started doing that. But we'll go ahead and warp forward. Either way, we're set up for a rendezvous. We got those two triangles lined up with the dash line going right through them. Now what do we do? Okay, well, it's pretty close. It's about to be loaded in to the point that I could actually see it if I zoomed in on it. But we're going 126 meters per second faster than it. So, like your orbit and everything, it'll show you in target mode when you click on target. Oh, and I just actually accidentally lost the target. It's stupid. On it again. That is target. Okay. So your target mode actually shows you how fast you're going relative to it. So we have to slow down and fast because we are now shooting past it. Now, unfortunately, I'm pointing the wrong way. This craft is not exactly the best. What I'm going to do, I'm going to undock, flip this thing around, go a little bit away from the craft, because this part actually has a little bit better control. Alright, so now it's gone past us, but we can still catch up to it. We just gotta cut our speed. So point towards that closed green circle and cut your speed all the way down. And it's slowing down. It's not going as far away from us. In fact, now, going towards it at 5 meters a second. But it got a little bit away from us. So we want to, and keep in mind, you want to keep that green circle as close to the pink circle as possible. You want to go towards the craft a little faster, because we have the fuel to spare. You don't want to go too fast because this part is pretty good, but we'll go about 50. That's fine. Then what I do is always kind of flip back around to get ready to slow ourselves down as we get closer to the thing. Now we're within we're within 1,000 meters. Closer. You can see the craft. You can see it right over there. We're heading right for it. Because our closed part is over, like the closed green circle is over the pink crosshair, and the open green circle is in the open pink triangle. So we're heading right for it, but we want to get nice and close to the thing. Slow ourselves down. Little quick bursts. Yeah, especially if you have fuel to spare, don't feel bad about, overshooting it or undershooting it. Try not to hit the craft, because that's the most important part. But now we're 100 meters away from it. Pretty slow. So this is the point where I like to switch to RCS, because it's precise maneuvering. We can control our speed a little bit slow, but that's how they do it. They don't want to slam into each other at rocket fuel. They just use pressurized gas to go towards each other. And I don't even have to turn around. I can just use RCS, press N instead to slow myself down. We'll go ahead and time warped, just to make up for the fact that we're going so slow. Alright, and feel free if you have any questions about this, Jordan, just ask me questions, okay? I know I'm going over stuff pretty quickly. Feel free to holler them out in chat if you got them. But now we're 35 meters away. We're barely moving compared to it, but it's going down.
You're also sideways.
Yeah, yes, and that's the next part, is we don't want to dock sideways because there isn't a docking port. But we're going to pretend like we can't move the craft whatsoever, so we got to move to it. Granted, you're going to be able to turn the craft around so it's nice and straight and then just go right for it. But I want to teach you a better way, or a more advanced way to do it. So now that we're actually close enough, when we hover over the craft, we can select its different parts. Go ahead and kill our speed completely until it's at 0. 1 and 0. There we go. So now we're hardly moving at all, maybe like a fraction of a meter a second. Let's click on its docking port and set it as our target. That's where we want to dock to. Boom. Let's slightly move the pink circle if you can see it. Now, this is where practice comes into play. You have to kind of figure out which direction your I, J, K, and L key actually move on our propeller. But we're going to kind of push ourselves up, and we're using more sight than anything to how I do it. I just kind of look at the craft, look at which way our RCS jets are shooting. Like, okay, I'm shooting that way, so I got to be going. Pushing ourselves to this part of the craft. Like I said, you won't ever have to not. You can obviously switch over to the craft and angle it towards me, so I could just head right into the docking port. But we don't want that. I don't want that. I want to do it the hard way. So I'm kind of just keeping an eye on it, and I'm trying to go the other way just to slow myself down. Now go for it.
I have no clue what I'm doing.
That's why you should be watching this Twitch stream.
Okay, so we're a little bit above it, so I'm going to go ahead and angle my down a little bit. You want to just use the camera to show you what, where you're actually going relative to your target, because it's hard to tell that shit. Slow down a little bit.
Tyler, did you just get Kerbal?
Can you hear us done?
Tyler, don't forget you changed your
Push to talk.
Hot.
Well,
yes,
just-
yes. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay.
How's Melanie?
Still pregnant.
Okay. Boom. Now we're only 12 meters away. Nice, precise, small movements. So now you'll notice if I go back to that pink circle, I'm pointing right at the docking node because I set that as my target. So, but we're a little bit angled off, but that's okay. We'll fix that shit as we get closer. So point right at it, even though we're kind of diagonal to it. Go ahead and push that forward, the H key. Kind of aim. We want to move that, pull that circle down. Pull that circle. I don't like going too far, so way if we have to.
If you go too fast, you end up knocking up your girlfriend. Right, Tyler?
That's if you don't pull out in time.
Yeah, pulling out's always an option. Right?
How do I just fucking launch this goddamn thing?
Either
spacebar?
press Z or
Yeah.
Z to engine up all the way, and press spacebar.
Gracias.
You're welcome. You skipped the tutorial, didn't you?
Well, the tutorials are
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, the tutorials are shit, but you need to kind of know what you're doing. But the whole game is about learning what you're doing. That's the whole point of it. I'm just slowly docking.
Okay. Well, it launched.
And blew up, didn't it?
No. I had a parachute. The parachute deployed.
Nice! Good job, man.
So I got probably about 500 meters in the air. And then
Okay.
it started flipping all over the place, but apparently the way I have my functions set up, it deployed the parachute right away on launch.
So this is all stuff you're gonna have to just kind of play around with for getting precise movements like this. So when you get to this point where you're actually this close to the vessel and you're not just flying away from it, play around with the RCS a little bit to learn what you're doing. But you'll notice if I turn the craft, I'm still moving the direction my craft was moving before I turn the craft. That's important. That's how it is in space. It's not like we can just hop out and fly from one spaceship to another. If they're traveling different directions or at different speeds, they keep those speeds, and you keep that speed when you hop
Yeah,
out
it's
of
the
it.
same way underwater.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm just slowly.
No, there's
heading
no
right-
gravity, so that whole Newton's law thing doesn't apply.
Yep. No, the Newton law thing does apply. That's actually why you conserve
Wait.
angular momentum in space, because Newton came up with that. Well, that's not why, but he figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a little high, but that's all right. Ourselves down a little bit. You can do it faster than me. I like doing it slow, steady. Because what you'll notice is once we're close enough, thank God the docking ports are magnetic. They'll pull to each other. Very important.
Those are some pretty strong magnets to be working at 5 meters.
No, they're not already. No, they're not pulling themselves right now.
Oh.
I'm causing this, just with slight pushes forward. But I'm gonna go ahead and speed up. And we'll just go ahead and finish this bad boy off right. Whoop! There we go. Boom, docked.
Yeah, we did.
All right,
I've been waiting to say that.
good job. So we'll go ahead and transfer